Hey everyone, it's Ashen here. Hope you're having a nice day, whatever time of day it is on your end. I guess this video is a bit long overdue, just by a little bit. But it is the traditional 1,000 subscriber Q&A video, and I have to say again, and I'll keep on saying it, but thank you everyone who has helped me get to this point. Whether you're a recent subscriber or someone who has hit that button and has been following my stuff all the way from the beginning, I appreciate every single one of you. I honestly never thought I'd reach this point, especially this quickly. When I first started up my YouTube channel back in October of 2020, I wasn't expecting to hit anywhere close to 1,000 subscribers until about a year afterwards. So October 2021 was when I was first expecting to hit 1,000. So for things to go this fast, I'm still kind of in shock, as calm as I'm trying to come off in this recording for the most part. But thank you all so much for that, and I really do appreciate it, and you really all are amazing and awesome for helping some random guy like me reach this point. With that said, also I have to say thank you to everyone who submitted questions both through the Gray Archive Discord, as well as the Twitter thread that I put up a couple of weeks ago. I appreciate every single one of those questions. A lot of them were entertaining to think about, and a lot of them were also very silly, so I tried to organize them as best I could so I didn't do too much repeating of questions and stuff, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. I will warn in advance that this is not a clean audio. When I say that, I don't mean I'm going to be swearing like crazy in this. I'm just not recording in my usual recording setup. My recording booth is right next to me. I'm not inside this time. I'm just chilling out on the kotatsu with some... with some chocolate tea that I got from Valentine's Day that's still not completely used up. I don't know why I bought such a large tin of it. And yeah, let's go ahead and get going into this. Dahlia ASMR asks, what is your biggest fear? Hey Z, how's it going? I honestly don't know what my biggest fear is. I've got numerous things that I'm moderately afraid of to a reasonable level. Spiders, especially the ones that look like they've been going to the gym and have got those very thick and very hairy appendages. But nothing that would really take the cake, or something that you can be guaranteed is going to make me fall into a complete sense of terror, have my legs shaking, or just have me balled up in the corner, just like shaking back and forth in the fetal position or something. I don't have anything that really reaches that level. Zaddy Banka asks, how many children are in your basement? Well, fortunately I don't have a basement. I live in an apartment complex, and I live in a studio, so there's very limited space. I don't have the excess storage to keep children, even if I wanted to. I've only got stuff for my clothes, for most of my, things I enjoy, swinging around, like my swords and stuff, and cooking tools, and that's about it. Who gave you the name Gramps? From Imagine VA. Hey Imagine, hope your break's going well. It's been a while, so hope you've been doing alright. But the person that gave me the name Gramps, I believe, was him. I believe it's a portmanteau of the name Gramps, because I am the oldest in the, I guess you could say the closest circle of friends I have in the VA community, which is the people that I usually refer to as the Order in my YouTube channel. And also Ashen Gray, of course, the gray part. So portmanteau Gray, Gramps, Gramps. And it appears that nickname is starting to spread around, even though I don't think I'm that old. I don't feel that old, but oh well. I'm cool with it. Why do you deny your position of anime protagonist, Gramps? Phoenix Eclipses. Hey Nix, how's it going? Hope you're having a good vacation. I deny my position of anime protagonist because I have been referred to as that ever since a very long time ago. I apparently look like one in real life, which is very concerning. And the fact I sound like one to some people makes it even more a case. So I will have to try and deny this as long as I can because I don't want to accept it yet. I just don't. There's no other reason that I just don't want to be an anime protagonist yet because I don't know what lies behind that Pandora's box. Zaddy Bonka asked these 4 questions, so I'll do them in order. Are waffles pancakes with abs? As funny as it would be to say yes, I would have to say no, because they are inherently very different. I'm pretty sure that the batter in waffles requires different things compared to pancakes, so you can't really get away with it. You know, you can't just put a pancake through a training arc and all of a sudden you've got waffles. It's a very different thing. What's your favorite movie? At this point, it's tough to say. My favorites tend to change as, you know, time goes on. They're very fluid. They're not adamant. I would have to say that right now, it probably would be Treasure Planet. I do enjoy rewatching it. I actually got the Blu-ray recently, and I've been watching it again and again. It's a really cool story based on the original, of course, Treasure Island, and I liked the way that everything came together, and it's a bit of a nostalgia thing. I believe it came out when I was younger and also like really close to my birthday, so all that stuff really makes the nostalgia stuff hit very hard for me when I watch it. Yo, wanna do drugs? I appreciate the offer, Zaddy, but I'll have to pass. I am not one to do drugs, so that's about it. But I appreciate the offer. Do you have any pets? In my studio, no, I don't. I unfortunately do not have a pet. I don't think that would work very well just because it's just me, and the only reason I probably could try to own one is because I work from home at this point. If I start going into the office again, that would make things very difficult. The closest thing I have to a pet here would be my lucky bamboo, which is about... oh man, I think it's grown again. I'm pretty sure it's at least like 5/6 of the total length if you include the pot. So it's definitely gotten at least double or 3 times the size it was when I first got it. So if you don't ever hear from me again, you can start suspecting it was the bamboo that got me first. But I do have actually a family dog back at home. She is a Jack Russell Terrier. Her name is Bella, and she is absolutely adorable. She has a special little chair that if you sit down on and you pat your lap, she will actually come up and ask for cuddles, and you can just pet the heck out of her, so she's very fun to be around. Weber Audios asks, why do I have 5 other parents? I don't think that even I can come up with an explanation for that, Weeb. It just happened. I'm afraid you're just going to have to deal with having 6 parents, okay? Well, I guess, yeah, that's about all I can say. For those that don't have context, weird family trees are made in the VA community every once in a while. It's a really weird thing that goes on, but it happens, and it's entertaining, so. Imagine VA asks, I like things. Do you like things? Knowing Imagine, I honestly don't know if this is some kind of a trick question, but I'll answer it at the at face value, which is sure, nice things are nice. You know, I'm cool with things. I have no problems with things. Little Inkwell asks, hey Ink, how's it going? How does it feel to be old? How do you psych yourself up for the characters, stories, scripts you find most difficult to voice to life? Let me do that one more time. How does it feel to be old? How do you psych yourself up for the characters, stories, scripts you find most difficult to voice to life? Well, that usually involves a lot of practice and a lot of going through the scripts first. For every one audio you all hear, it tends to be more or less likely that you have not heard the 5 to 6 to 7 to plus rehearsals that I usually do of these things before I even turn on the mic. So usually I tend to go through the lines dry maybe like 2 or 3 times, and then from there I start trying to take attempts at actually recording the audio. that tends to go from like, you know, I can nail it the first time to it takes the third time. It can very much vary. But the more I do it, the more I'm able to get into the characters. The easiest ones are the ones I find, I guess, that are closest to myself, or the ones I can kind of really get into the headspace of. But yeah, that tends to be my my thought process whenever I go through a new script or a new story. This question was asked by a bunch of people in different ways, so I'll try to answer them all at once. But was asked by Hydra King VA. Hey Hydra, how's it going? Artist is Found, Kira, and Cursed. And they all ask a very similar question. So it is, what made you start your channel? You know, what was the jumping? What made me say I'm gonna go for this? What inspired me? And also, to add on to that, what is the story behind the name I chose for my channel? So, what made me start, and if you guys are ever curious, I put some of the inspiration I got for getting into ASMR into my old audio, which is helping your friends start ASMR. I really was working from home, and because I wasn't going into the office, this is just my assumption, I wasn't using up all of my energy reserves for the day, so I was having a lot of trouble going to sleep. And it was that point I was trying to put on smooth jazz live streams before going to bed, and I eventually started tapping into ASMR. Originally it was unintentional ASMR, which is things like Japanese bartender, printmaking, woodwork, as well as art restoration. If you get the chance, you can check out this one channel, Baumgartner Restoration. He has some really cool stuff. It's very intriguing to watch, and it's also very cool to listen to. It's actually really relaxing. After that, I started kind of falling into the VA ASMR role plays kind of niche, and that's where I started listening to things like from Lemon Leaf, Billy ASMR, Captain Nemo, Dude That's Wholesome as well, things like that. And a lot of the stories that they told kind of really inspired me to really want to take up the hobby and give it a try. Back in high school, I used to love telling stories through roleplay forums and stuff. I even tried to actually become a mangaka. I liked drawing anime and stuff, and I even went to college for a fine arts degree. But all that didn't pan out, and I figured this would be another new way of potentially trying to get all that creative, ideas out into the world again and seeing who would like it. And that's what kind of inspired me to finally give it a try. So there you go. As for the story behind the name for my channel, I don't really have anything too interesting. The color of gray was a really interesting one I figured to pick for the channel. And I wanted to have it be more than just gray ASMR, so that's how I ended up picking Ashen for some reason. Was just a name that really stuck in my head. It seemed to kind of roll off the tongue nicely, so Ashen Gray. And that's why I ended up going with it. This next one is also from Hydro. The next ones are from Hydro as well, but one more person also asked a similar question. So, number 2 is, if you could have any superpower, what would you choose and why? I probably would choose something like quick adaptation or something. Something a little more realistic, because when I think of superpowers, my brain sometimes goes to the logical extreme and starts thinking of the other things you would require in order to make a superpower work. So take, for example, super strength. It's like, great, I can punch super hard. Well, do you have the physical durability to handle a super powerful punch? Can your body handle punching a building even though it has the power to actually smash into something? And you can see how the thought process can probably evolve from there. So that's why I wanted to pick something a little more grounded and probably really handy, especially in normal life. Both Hydro and Neela Sweets, hey Neela, how's it going? Ask, do you have a favorite VA? If so, who? And specifically, someone asked, why is Hydro King VA your favorite ASMR artist? Is it his sheer talent or his overwhelming charm? Hydro, you are very charming, and I appreciate that. But no, you are not my absolute favorite. I don't think I really have a number one absolute favorite, unfortunately. I have a lot of people that I draw inspiration from, a lot of people that, as I said before, inspired me to even try out the hobby in the first place. If I had to pick one specific person, I would probably say Lemon Leaf. Her horror stories stuff were actually really interesting, and the kind of way that she started weaving almost like a pseudo like universe in her audios was actually something that really inspired me to even try making the Kin Hunter as well. So yeah, I can't thank her enough for helping me give this thing, or inspiring me to give this thing a try. How does it feel to have come this far, bro? And this one's from Hydro. As I said, I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around the fact that it's happened this far so fast. As I said, I was not expecting to hit 1,000 even until a year after this channel was made. So, trying to keep it together as much as I can. It requires all of my willpower every once in a while, but I can't. Sometimes I can't contain it. You guys probably have heard it in my 300 subscriber video if you watched it. If not, well, sometimes the energy can come through very quickly. I start almost sound like I have had too much sugar or caffeine for some reason, but I am very grateful for everyone, and it really does inspire me to try and keep on pushing harder and to come up with better ideas for you guys. Ixzeo, I-X-Z-E-O. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your username correctly, but they ask, your thought process for creating videos. It depends. For my Kin Hunter story stuff, I tend to have ideas that are kind of swirling around in my head, and over time they kind of fall into place on where I want them to be in the story. That's why I do have things like, first of all, the very first one, which is Werewolf's Den, and then the Vampire Thrall one, and kind of continued from there. For one-off ones, it's a little more difficult. Usually I have a concept in place, something like, you know, Yandere Survivor. It's like, oh, instead of being a Yandere, it's a person that survived a Yandere attack. And from there, I try to develop the script as I go. Sometimes it can be difficult because it's hard to imply what the listener might be speaking at a certain point. So it's a lot of back and forth in my own head, trying to speak things out. Excuse me, I need some tea. So I wouldn't really say that I have a process, more just a hodgepodge of things that just eventually somehow come together into a video. I wish I could give something a little more structured, but I don't have one at this point. You'll probably have to ask me probably in like another few months if I actually have a thought process together or something. Reikokeda asks, and also Reiko, thank you so much, Raychan, for the amazing art commission. You all can probably see it in the background right now, but she did an amazing job. I am thoroughly impressed with what came through, and if you get the chance, go check out the Twitter profile. It's really a lot of amazing stuff, and I can't appreciate the craziness that it looks so stunning. I am really blown away. She asks, if you were in a situation where you can only choose one of your senses to stay with you, which of those said senses would you choose? Your sight, hearing, ability to feel touch, sense of smell, or maybe taste? I think if I had a single sense I had to keep, it would most likely be my sight. Just because it's the strongest one, it's the one that you're using basically constantly. I can stand to lose hearing, I can stand to lose, you know, the ability to touch or the sense of smell or taste, because, you know, food's gotta taste bland, but, you know, if someone's around, or if I can figure out, hey, at least I'm making sure I'm doing this right, then I can kind of make up for that. But sight would be probably the most debilitating thing to lose, and that's the reason why I'd probably want to keep it. Zaddy asks, what is like a childhood memory you have? Childhood memory I have. Well, this one isn't a, I wouldn't say it's a fond memory, but it's definitely one that keeps on popping into my head, because I am able to still vividly remember what happened. So, when I was much younger, young enough at the age where I was still learning to ride a bike, I had done it for, I'd probably say, maybe like a couple months or so of riding with training wheels. And so my cousin and another friend at the time decided that it was probably a good opportunity to have me try riding without the training wheels. The only problem with that was that the bike they had me ride on was about twice my size. So my feet would probably barely touch the tops of the actual pedals when the pedals are coming around the highest point. So I still remember exactly what happened was that they gave me a nice little push. I was going down the street right in front of my family's house. Going along, I get to maybe like 6 feet out and I start losing momentum. The pedals start slowing down and it was literally that I kind of just hung in space for, I'd say maybe like 2 or 3 seconds. And then the bike tilted to the side towards the curb and I basically side planted into the curb. So, not fun. Definitely, probably a little bit scarring a little bit on my brain, but it's still a memory that I'm able to remember so well, and it's I wouldn't say it's fun, but it's entertaining to look back on. Artist is Found asks, overall, what is the one video that you enjoyed making so far? I hate to say it, but I think the one that I enjoyed making so far is probably my April Fool's one. And the reason why is not because it was fun to make, but the responses are the ones that always make me laugh. I don't know why. There's probably like a minor sadistic side of me or something where it's just when I'm able to get people with a joke or something and they just react to me, why did you do this to me type of way. It just always makes me laugh. So the fact that I got so many people so far with that, it really brightens my day. And I am sorry in advance for anybody that has actually watched the video or has yet to watch the video, but now you have been warned. And also, artist asks this, so, in your opinion, what is the hardest thing to do while making a video? I have multiple things that are hard to do while making a video, depends on the video, but the hardest one that I tend to have is going to be probably the writing of the script. Sometimes it's hard to find inspiration. Some audios it's very easy to get the creative juices flowing and I can kind of get the conversation really going like super fast. But with other ones, like a lot of the one-off ones, it takes a lot of thought processing, a lot of thinking, and a lot of just mulling over things like day after day after day in order to figure out what would probably go best for the audio. And yeah, that sometimes doesn't translate well to the actual script itself, and sometimes I look back and I think, oh, I could probably have improved this part or something, but yeah, to sum up, the hardest part sometimes is even coming up with an idea in the first place. Just a Sentient McLaren P1 asks, do you like egg rolls? I'm perfectly fine with egg rolls. I wouldn't mind having one if it's at like a potluck or something, or at somebody's house, they're having dinner and they order egg rolls. I'm perfectly fine with having them, but I'm probably not going to go out of my way to go and like order them from a place if they happen to have it. I usually would go for something like fried rice, or I don't know what else would be on the menu. These next 4 questions are from Neela Sweets. She asked them, and Neela, I fired them off also back at you in your own 1K thing. But the first one is, do you keep it in the DMs? I try my best. Sometimes comedic timing does not allow me to do so, but I do try my best whenever the need arises to try and keep some of the jokes I make in the DMs. What is your favorite thing to eat? Kind of tough to say. I think the one thing that I always would come back to eating, I wouldn't exactly say it's a favorite, but it's up there, I guess, would be Zippy's Chili. Zippy's is a restaurant chain that is in the place I'm from, which is the Hawaiian Islands. It's usually pretty tasty. It's not the same thing as like Texas chili or other stuff you get. It's a little more mellow, but it's really, really good over rice, and I used to have it all the time as a kid, and it's something that I always enjoy getting, especially when my family sends up like freezer packs of it and stuff. Why are you such a nerd? Because I am. I'm just a nerd because I am passionate about different things, different interests, and all that kind of stuff, and I guess that would tend to constitute me as being a nerd of those types of things, which by extension means that everybody is a nerd of some type of thing, unless you aren't really passionate about something, which at this point, I don't know, I would say that you're a nerd about not being passionate or something. I have no clue. Do you play D&D, and if so, what is your favorite character? I do play D&D, or at least I usually do once a month with some friends. We usually used to do it down at the Dungeon Master's place, but as of late we've been having to do it over video conference. I have been playing D&D ever since it was introduced to me back in college, which was, I think, D&D 4th edition. And I don't really have a favorite character, class, or all that kind of stuff. I'd like to try out every single one of them because they all have their different strengths and weaknesses and stuff. But the one class I end up always coming back to is the Rogue. I started off as the Assassin back in D&D 4, and then I started going back into the Rogue because it's the closest thing to a Jack-of-all-trades class in D&D. And I like being the Jack-of-all-trades, the kind of like the all-rounder. The one that is able to take care of things even though he doesn't really like excel or shine in any particular spot. Oh, wise Gramps, may you tell us, what do you see yourself doing in 10 years from now? And that's from Scurry Bear Audio. Hey Scurry, how's things going? So 10 years from now, I honestly don't know. Like the traditional question is, what do you see yourself doing 5 years from now? That interviews and stuff. I honestly would have a foggy picture even at that. For perspective, like 10 years would be going through both high school and college, or for me, I went through 2 relationships before in that period of time and stuff. So a lot can change in 10 years. The only thing I could see myself really wanting to be, not so much doing, but be 10 years from now would be, I guess, financially stable, financially free, you could say. I want to be in a spot where if I wanted to work, it really would be not because I needed to pay bills or pay rent and stuff. It would be because I do it because I like it and I happen to make money off of it. I could completely be lazy. I could just sleep in for 2 days straight or something, and I wouldn't have to worry about something popping up. So that kind of financial freedom would be really nice to have. And the last one is Aries Leo asks, is there any advice you would give people who often think about starting with ASMR but cringe about their voice? Well, I'll tell you this much, even I cringe about my voice every once in a while. I don't think I have the most, interesting voice out there. It's pretty plain compared to other people. I listen to other people, I'm just jealous of their voice. I'm like, I wish I could sound like you. Or others, I hear their videos and I'm like, I wish I could have the vocal range and control that they had. But you're probably going to hear this from every single person that you would ask this question to, but you have to give it a try. There was a great video that I saw a while back. I believe it was from a voice actor by the name of Lapin or something like that. And the funny thing is that he actually says if you're nervous about your own voice, the first thing you need to do before getting into anything voice acting or ASMR related is to listen to your own voice and get comfortable with it. The reason why is because your nervousness or cringiness about your voice is going to come through in the performance. So before you even try, picking up a microphone and recording something and something like that, try and listen to your own voice and get comfortable with hearing it, because you're going to hear it constantly. To give you some context, I started up my channel back on October 22nd, and I put my first audio out on October 28th, I believe. Well, what you don't know is that I think about a month or 2 before I even created the channel, I had been practicing and recording on my cell phone for oh man, I would say like a couple weeks or on end, or a couple days on end. There's a lot of audios that you probably have not heard because I haven't recorded them and I got rid of them after I started. They were all for the ASMR Artist Friend script, but I had to get really comfortable just listening to my own voice back. And that really helps to get yourself kind of out of that zone of just like, oh god, my voice is terrible, I don't want to put this thing out, because your voice is your own. And I'll say this while I sip some tea because I'm starting to start rambling. Let me take a sip here so I can collect my thoughts. Excuse me. Alright. So let me go ahead and sum up with this. So get yourself a decent mic. If you don't have one, that's perfectly fine. Record on your cell phone. And if you don't have that, well, you know, you can even get some AirPods or something. I'm sure there are multiple ways you can get started, but get yourself a half-decent mic and just start recording your voice. Just start listening to your own voice and get comfortable with that. And the other thing too is that even if you don't really like the sound of your own voice, that doesn't mean that there are people out there that are also going to think the same. I'm pretty sure that there is a huge handful of people that would actually be very attracted to your voice or would really like your voice. So you never really know until you finally put your voice out there and say, hey, what do you guys think? And if it doesn't work out, hey, you didn't invest too much. You put one video out and it's like, okay, cool, no big deal. And if it does and it blows up, then you never know. So you never really know what's going to happen until you give it a try. And sometimes that trying means, you know, keeping at it. Sometimes that means trying out a different way to apply it. But it really depends, and it all really begins from you taking that first step. I'll tell you this much though, that I was not sure how this was going to work out the first time that I stuck up a mic and recorded Wolf's Den and put it out there. I was half expecting it to just be like, kind of a flash in the pan, or at best more like a flop in the pan, and just be like, okay, whatever, that was a nice try, whatever. And you know, as I said, I'm still blown away that I've reached this point. I'm surprised that so many people like my audios and they like my voice performances. So you never know what's gonna happen. And yeah, I'll stop rambling. I'll stop rambling. God damn it! I'll stop rambling and just say, give it a try. Listen to your own voice. Practice a few times. And yeah, just take a deep breath and take the plunge. And with that, that was the last question. Thank you all so much again for sticking through to the end of this thing. I don't know how much time this is going to be in the end, because I do need to trim out some points where unwanted noises were coming through. But other than that, thank you all for sticking through to the end of this. Thank you all so much again for helping me get to this point, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, guys. Have a good day.